Hello everyone, I welcome you once again on my YouTube channel Ensure Learning. In the previous video, we have started the first chapter of class 12 history. In this video, we are going to continue the chapter. If you have not seen the first part of the chapter, please do watch the video. I will drop the link in the description also. Okay, so let's get started. Today we are going to start from Great Bath. Great Bath was found in the most important city of Mohenjo-daro. Okay, and one thing which I forgot to tell you in the first video was that the this city Mohenjo-daro literally means the Mount of Dead. Okay, so let's see what Great Bath is. The Great Bath was a large rectangular tank in a courtyard surrounded by corridor on all four sides. So it was a large rectangular tank in a courtyard and it was surrounded by corridors on all the four sides. Okay. There were two flights of steps on the north and south leading into the tank, which was made watertight by setting bricks on edge and using a mortar of gypsum. So there were two flights of stairs, means two entries through which we could enter into the tank. One was from the north and another was from the south. And this tank was made watertight by using bricks and also gypsum. Okay, the uniqueness of the structure as well as the context in which it was found had led scholars to suggest that it was meant for some kind of a special ritual bath. This was meant for some kind of ritual bath. Okay, because in the context which we have found the great bath connotes that it must have been used for some ritualistic purposes. Okay, it served as some of the ritualistic purposes. Okay, now here you can see I have given the picture of citadel which we have discussed in the previous video. The citadel was smaller but higher. Remember, I have told you that citadel was smaller but higher and it was constructed in the uh, means it was harboring only the ruling elites. Okay, and this was how the citadel looked. See, it was built on wall platforms and it was higher. You can see these buildings are quite high in length. Okay, and here is a picture of Great Bath. Okay, you will also find the picture in your book. See, this is Great Bath. Now let us move ahead to the next topic, that is tracking social differences. Now you know some kind of inequalities prevail in every society, whether it is an ancient society or whether it is our modern society. Okay, now how do archaeologists have tried to find out the differences in the societies? Means what were the things which showed that yes, there was a difference in the society at that time. Okay, now first point through which we can know the differences in the society was through burials. At burials in Harappan sites, the dead were generally laid in pits. Okay, sometimes there were differences in the way the burial pits were made. In some instances, the hollowed out spaces were lined with bricks. Now, there were sometimes differences in which the pits were laid, and probably these differences only corresponded to the social inequalities prevailing at that time. Some graves contain pottery and ornaments, have indicating a belief that this could be used in afterlife. Okay, now some grapes also contain ornaments and some do not. So this have indicated that maybe in those areas people believe that there are some objects which the dead carries itself with till the dead carries itself to the uh, heaven. Maybe they have this kind of beliefs. Okay, so that's why they buried the ornaments with the death. After life, jewelry has been found in burials of both men and women. Now you see jewelries were found in the burials of both men and women. In fact, in the excavations at the cemetery in Harappa in the mid 1980, an ornament consisting of three shell rings, a jasper bead, and hundreds of micro beads was found near the skull of a man. In some instances, the dead were buried with copper mirrors. Now, you see what was found in 1980s in a burial. This question can come in your exam. Okay, so please remember this point, that in 1980, and in a burial we found an ornament which consisted of three shell rings, a jasper bead, and hundreds of micro beads. Okay, and also in some instances the dead were buried with copper. Now, another strategy which was adopted by the archaeologists to study the differences in the society was to look for luxuries. To identify social differences, archaeologists study artifacts and classify them as utilitarian and luxuries. Now, archaeologists study artifacts. What are artifacts? Man-made objects. Okay, archaeologists study different kind of artifacts, and they classify them as utilitarian and luxuries. Okay, utilitarian objects include objects of such as pottery, needles, body scrubbers. They were made up of clay and stone with little technology. Now, what are objects which are classified at utilitarian? So these utilitarian objects were those which were made for daily use, and these were made from very small amount of technology. Okay, and this included pottery, needle, body scrubbers. Now, on the other hand, what are luxurious objects? The luxurious objects were costly and made up of rare materials with complicated technologies. They were made up of rare materials. Rare materials means those materials which were not found commonly or which were brought from distinct land. Okay, little pots of faience were probably considered precious because they were difficult to make. The distribution of such artifacts shows that the rare materials were generally concentrated in large settlements like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. Okay, now this is a very important point. Uh, the rare objects or the rare artifacts were found only in major towns of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Now this shows that yes, really this Mohenjo and Harappa were some very prominent sites. Okay, and in these sites only the ruling elites used to live, because the amount of luxurious items found here are more compared to any other region. Now let us move to the next section, which is finding out about craft production. Chanudar was a settlement exclusively devoted to craft production. Okay, this site Chanudaro, remember that it was famous for craft production. Materials like carnelian, copper, bronze, gold, crystal, jasper, shell, faience were made up of were used for making artifacts. Now these items or these objects were used for making artifacts, means they acted as raw materials. They were used as raw materials. The shapes were numerous: disc shaped, cylindrical, spherical, barrel shaped, segmented. So the artifacts were made in various shapes. Techniques for making beads varied according to the material. Steatite, a very soft stone, was easily worked. So the techniques which was employed in the production varied according to the material used. Steatite, which was a very small stone, was easily worked out. Some beads were molded out of a paste made with steatite powder. Chanudaru, Lothal, Dholavira were made were some of the craft producing sites. Now remember that these sites, Chanudaru, Lothal, Dholavira, were the craft production sites. Nageshwar and Balakot were famous for silk objects including bangles, ladles, and inlay. Okay, this is also a very important point. Remember this. Now, moving ahead to the next section, which is identifying centers of production. Now, how do historians understand that this area was used as a center of craft production? In order to identify centers of craft production, archaeologists usually look for the raw materials such as stone nodules, wholesales, copper ores, unfinished objects, rejects, and waste material. Now, these are the objects which archaeologists look for in order to understand that whether the site was a craft producing site or not. Waste is one of the best indicator of craft production, and in fact waste is one of the best indicator of craft production, because in any area where craft production will take place, it is common that some amount of waste will be generated. So this waste will be left out on the surfaces, and gradually when archaeological excavations took place, they discovered this waste and identified the cities as the craft producing cities. Okay, so in this video we have covered the chapter till this unit, that is 5.1, identifying centers of production. In the next video we will continue the chapter, and do watch the previous uh, video of this chapter. I will drop the link in the description, and also like the video if you found it useful, and subscribe my channel.